everyone.
Not only is it finally here, but I have finally seen the new Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, and after discussing it for the better part of over a year here on the channel, it's everything. And here's my review, initial thoughts, overall reaction to Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine. Of course, there are spoilers ahead, but firstly, a non-spoiler kind of just first reaction, first thoughts, and overall review, I guess, if you will. That's kind of as this video stands, as an overall Deadpool and Wolverine review video, what I really thought of this movie here as well. Non-spoiler review, though, however, first. Stop watching this video, go book your tickets and go see it, dude. I don't care what kind of flux you feel, what you might be feeling with Marvel Studios right now. If you're one of those people that are like, oh, Marvel died with Avengers Endgame, that's where it ends. No, you're wrong, and I'll continue to say you're wrong about that, because there have been plenty of amazing Marvel projects, both shows and movies, to be honest with you guys, that have not exactly exceeded Endgame, but are definitely up there on the roster, and that have definitely been magical, special, important, entertaining, most importantly as well. And Deadpool and Wolverine is honestly at the tip top of that list. Honestly, this movie may be better than Spider-Man No Way Home, but hey, I'll let you guys be the judge of that in the comments down below. That's my non-spoiler kind of thoughts, initial reaction to Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's talk some spoilers here. Loved everything about this movie, from its pacing, its action, its music, all of that. Of course, I could go on and on about that, but I think that's something that's kind of solidified, something that we can all agree on, and something I think that we all know about Deadpool and Wolverine, especially for those of you that have seen it, of course, is that this movie doesn't fall short of its R rating. They don't stray away from that. That's something of a concern, and of a worry that I think a lot of fans out there have kind of had, like, oh, this is set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's a part of the MCU now, and it's still rated R. They're probably not going to do as much R-rated things because it's a Disney movie now, and it's not like under Fox Studios like Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 were. You're completely wrong about that. Honestly, they might have, I could be wrong about this too, but honestly, it feels like they did more in this movie than they did with those first two movies, like getting away as into the sense of swearing, goriness, inappropriate jokes, all of the above kind of scenario, which was just hysterical, and you really get a kick out of all of that. Even then, it doesn't even feel that you have to have like exactly been on par with Marvel since Avengers Endgame. Like, you could have just jumped into this movie, watched it, and maybe the last Marvel movie you did watch was Avengers Endgame. You just go to the theater and want to see a cool action movie. This is that movie, 110% every time. This movie doesn't, it has its bigger implications and its bigger, storylines and threads to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think, of course, as we do know, like, they have all these other cameos that are also from the Foxverse and from the original X-Men movies. We'll talk about cameos here in just a moment, but it's also keeping this in mind that it is set within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it definitely kind of ends on that tone as well. Like, this is like the big entrance. Deadpool is officially a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He'll definitely be appearing in the next Avengers movies as well. Avengers 5, now titled Doomsday, with the Hall H Comic-Con announcements. Of course, we'll continue to keep you guys updated with all of those, with new videos here on the channel. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, but there are some big announcements going on with that. Marvel as a whole, we're just so back with everything that it feels like that they're doing here, bringing back RDJ. Especially for me, I had actually saw Deadpool and Wolverine on, I think it was on Sunday is when we had all the Hall H announcements. So, or no, it was Saturday. That's when we had all the Hall H announcements. That's when I went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine earlier in the day, and then in the afternoon, evening, that's when all the Hall H announcements were going on, and complete Marvel overload, as you may picture and anticipate and expect here. Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, of course, as well. Let's talk about that and start there. It doesn't stray away. It doesn't take away or undertake from with what the 2017 Logan movie did, maybe per se necessarily. Of course, it's the same actor, Hugh Jackman, of course, the beloved Hugh Jackman, but it isn't necessarily the same Wolverine. It's a fresh start of a Wolverine, and one I think that we'll definitely be seeing of the same variant within the continuous MCU here. As I kind of said there for Deadpool's character, for one, seeing that character also appear in the next Avengers movies, and even outside of that, I think as well, there's that implication and possibility that these two could also appear appear and pop up in other Marvel movies leading up and after the Avengers, next two Avengers movies especially as well. They have already kind of expressed that wanting to work with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, being in the next Spider-Man movie or some type of project with that character appearing in the next Doctor Strange movie. It feels like the possibilities honestly at this point could really be endless, and I think that this is especially for Deadpool and Wolverine. It really brings that glimmer of hope. Hearing and reporting and talking about all of the different rumors, all the different cameos that we're going to see, I sat here reporting on some of those rumors and some of those reports here on the channel, just really not believing them. I was just covering them for the sake of covering them, if I'm being honest with you guys, kind of just there to be that source, to keep you guys in the loop of things. I'm here talking about a video of like, oh yeah, Blade, the original Blade, Wesley Snipes is going to be in Deadpool 3, and well, here we are. He was in the movie. Or other reports that just felt so far-fetched that Chris Evans would be back, and maybe not necessarily be playing Captain America, but much rather playing the original Johnny Storm from the early 2000s Fantastic Four movies. I mean, here we are. Just those kind of reports and those discussions that we had here on the channel are really incredible and just so mind-boggling and all of the above. Something that I think that a lot of Marvel fans out there have been kind of saying and can agree on is that this is kind of what Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness should have and kind of could have been, like on this par. They didn't take, they didn't waste any screen time necessarily. They filled this movie up with as many cameos as they possibly could, whereas to maybe Multiverse of Madness wasn't heavily known for all of its different cameos, and it was much rather like a big build up, and like they kind of just threw all the cameos at us all at once. This movie spreads, Deadpool and Wolverine spreads all of these different cameos throughout the entirety of this movie, and it keeps you at the edge of your seat each time, because every time a new character pops up on screen, a door opens, a hooded figure walks onto the screen, you're at the edge of your seat and you're like, who is this going to be this time, kind of scenario. And it's something that I really, really loved about this movie. This honestly definitely feels like one of those movies that you go back to the theaters to watch over and over again while it does have its theatrical release, because you want to see it on the big screen because it's that dang good. A big praise that I personally have for this movie is bringing some of those fan castings to life. Actually, Henry Cavill playing a variant of Wolverine in there for a split second was absolutely stunning. Having Tandem, I forget his last name, but Tandem coming in here as the Gambit, like wanting to have played that character back when Fox still had the X-Men characters, having that project scrapped when Disney did the buyout in 2019, I do believe, and then actually coming that, bringing that to fruition was so just fulfilling and really cool to see. And I hope that we are able to see that once again and kind of continue on. Like, I know those characters technically do die at the end of the movie because they're kind of like saying goodbye to them. That's kind of also how this movie also does act, is like waving goodbye to those Fox characters. They don't really stray away from killing those characters off. Technically, you could also argue that they're technically variants or whatever that are also kind of roaming around the void, and maybe not necessarily the same exact ones from those Fox studio movies, but we can talk about that in a separate video here on the channel. My only complaint about this movie is that they had revealed Daphne Keane was back to play X-23 in the final trailer like a week before the movie was coming out. That would have been such a better surprise for the movie itself because of the way that they revealed her character in the movie as well. Like, there was a lot of suspense for it, but we already knew that she was going to be in the movie, a matter of when and where kind of scenario. Anyway, guys, we're out of time. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Now, of course, this has been an official MCU. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. Peace out.